Good afternoon to you and welcome to your main newscast right here on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. My name is Josh Evans Lekman and these are the top stories we're tracking. Diaspora body condemns government unwillingness to ask for renegotiation of Exxon contract. EMC teams up with U.S. firm to offer environmental and healthy safety packages for oil sector. Youth caught raping elderly woman outside Le Penitence Market, and man tries to hide behind bread to evade police. Meanwhile, DPP moves to squash magistrate's decision in Roxanne Myers election fraud cases. And the government procures 112 tractors at $446 million for Amerindian villages, and first batch handed over yesterday. Stay tuned to stay informed.
Will be held on Wednesday, July 7th from 8 a.m. at number 66 Fishport Complex, Quarantine, Berbice, and from 2 p.m. at the St. Francis Japanese Hall, JC Porth-Morant. Thursday, July 8th via the Zoom platform from 1 p.m. and Friday, July 9th at the Humaniana from 3 p.m. This is your opportunity to learn more about the project and how it will impact you. You will also be able to provide recommendations on matters to be addressed or considered in the environmental impact assessment of this proposed project. A summary of the project can be viewed on the EPA's website or can be uplifted from our main office in Ganges Street, Sophia. For more details, please contact the Environmental Protection Agency or visit our Facebook page or website for more information. This is a public service announcement.
Welcome back and thank you for joining us right here on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. My name is Josh Evans Lekman with your Thursday, July 8 News at Noon. On July 2nd, Attorney General Anil Nandalal addressed two separate congregations of Guyanese diaspora in Queens, New York. At the smaller of those two meetings, Mike Prasad, a member of the Oil and Gas Governance Network, an overseas-based organization that addresses issues relating to the oil and gas governance, asked Nandalal, why does the government not ask Exxon to come back to the table to review the terms of the contract? According to Prasad, the AG in reply inferred no intention of the part of the PPC government to attempt to renegotiate. Prasad stated that Nandalal spoke about quote-unquote four corners of a contract that must be respected. He said that the contract has been negotiated in 2016 by the previous government. He also said that from now on, his government shall renegotiate new PSAs on all future oil blocks. On our terms, the promise of the AG to renegotiate future oil blocks on our very own terms was met without doubt from Prasad, who noted that PSA have been concluded and signed by the government for the following oil blocks: Berbice, Kanji, Quarantine, Demerara, Kaieteur, Orange Brook, Stabroek, and Roraima. In response to President Ali's call for local companies to up their game to become more competitive in the multi-billion-dollar oil and gas industry, Environmental Management Consultants Incorporated, EMC, one of Guyana's premier environmental consultancy companies, has teamed up with a leading American firm to expand its services and marketably. Its new partner is Arkern International LLC, a U.S.-based international firm with experience in environmental and social risk and logistics management. Together, the two oil companies will offer an integrated package of environmental, health, safety, and social services for offshore exploration and production activities in Guyana. Recognizing the significance of continued hydrocarbon discoveries and the onset of significant development opportunities in Guyana, EMC said that this strategic partnership will allow Arkern International to complement and support its multi-factored team by bringing extensive oil and gas experience and expertise, particularly in environmental and social risk management. A young man who appeared to be in his late teens or early 20s was last evening caught raping a homeless woman on Saffron Street, Charlestown, just outside the Le Penitence Market. The youth was caught in the act sometime after 19 hours by a group of persons passing in a car, one of which a woman said that he was raping the elderly woman on the road. The suspect tried to resist being arrested, but the ranks picked him up and threw him into the back of the patrol vehicle. Again, the young man tried to fight but was overpowered by the ranks. Angry residents who turned up at the scene lambasted the young man's action while he insisted that he did nothing wrong. Reporters observed that the old woman, who was believed to be around 80 years old, was limping and blood could be seen on her hands, legs and clothing. The woman is also believed to have been a vagrant in the area for some time. In an attempt to evade police, a baker, George, only name provided to this newscast, decided to seek refuge in a bakery establishment, Aubrey's Cafe and Bakery, also known as Federal Bakery, located at Peter Rose Street, Queenstown, Georgetown, where he is employed. The man's attempt, which was captured by someone using a cellular phone, was however foiled by vigilant police ranks. The two police ranks wearing helmets are seen running into the bakery in an attempt to apprehend the baker. At first, one of the ranks was able to apprehend a man who was able to free himself from the rank's grip and make a dash for it. The man was seen navigating sacks of bread to evade the ranks. He was eventually arrested. One of the ranks relayed that George was seen riding presumably a motorcycle in the wrong direction on a one-way after exiting a gas station. You're listening to us right here on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. This is your main newscast. More news after the break. Stay with us.
Hamper, Pomeroon Supernam fighting COVID-19 for a safer region and safer Guyana.
Welcome back and thank you for joining us. Director of Public Prosecution Shalimir Ali Haq has initiated legal proceedings in the High Court seeking orders to squash a magistrate's decision to hold a preliminary inquiry into the electoral fraud cases against Deputy Chief Executive Officer Roxanne Myers. According to the case, which was filed on behalf of the DPP through attorneys Darshan Ramdeen and Glenn Hanneman and Ganesh Hairaj, George Thomas and Mark Conway, the applicant seeks a declaration that the decision made by Magistrate Leron Daly to hold a PI into the misconduct allegation engages the provision of Article 144 of the Constitution, which likely resulted that the case may not be tried within a reasonable time. As such, the DPP asks for an order to squash Daly's decision to hold a PI into Myers' case on the grounds that it is irrational, ultra vires, illegal without legal foundation, without legal authority, and contrary to natural justice. The government, through the Ministry of Armed Indian Affairs, has procured a total of 112 tractors at a cost of $446 million. The first batch of 30 tractors was yesterday handed over to the Tushaus of 30 Amerindian villages. During a simple handing over ceremony at the Hinterland Scholarship Dormitory Liliendal Greater Georgetown, President Irfan Ali handed over the tractors to the Tushau who hails from Region 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and 9. The tractors were supplied to the government by Rootsa Motor Company Guyana Incorporated. In delivering his address, the president told the village leaders that the initiative is a realization of his government's commitment to hinterland food security as part of efforts to generate economic livelihood for hinterland communities. We tell you now that CGX Energy, a Canadian-based oil and gas exploration company focused on the exploration of oil in the Guyana-Suriname Basin, has announced that it has commenced drilling in the Kawaya 1 prospect on the Quarantine Block, located approximately 90 nautical miles offshore Guyana. CGX is the operator of the Quarantine Block with a 66.6% participation interest and is currently engaged in a joint venture with Frontera, which holds a 33.3% interest. The commencement of the operation comes on the heels of a one-year extension granted by the Guyana government last November on its schedule to conduct drilling operations on the Quarantine Block, and upon the company's acquisition of a semi-submersible drilling unit. The Marsh Discovery is a 6th-generation semi-mobile drilling unit capable of operating in 3,000 meters water depth. CGX said it expects that the total cost of the Guyana exploration program in 2021 will be approximately $90 million. We tell you now that 22-year-old Calvin Lawrence of Leopard Street, working West Georgetown, was yesterday remanded for setting a house on fire. That should be for setting on fire on June 24th, 3 dwelling houses on George Street, working West Georgetown. He was not required to plead to the indictable charge. This was read to him. The buildings that were set afire are a dwelling house valued at $18 million, containing articles valued at $6 million. Another valued at $38 million, containing articles valued $16 million, and the third valued $250 million, containing articles amounting to $30 million. Lawrence was remanded to prison and the matter was adjourned to January 22nd. It is 12 hours 29 in Guyana, and right across the Eastern Caribbean, we turn our attention to your COVID-19 updates. By the end of the week, HIV patients would be able to comfortably get their COVID-19 vaccinations. This is according to Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony. During yesterday's COVID-19 update, he said that the Health Ministry has been working along with the National Care and Treatment Center to set up a COVID-19 vaccination site to accommodate HIV patients. The minister is hopeful that this added measure would encourage HIV patients to get their COVID-19 vaccines, as HIV heightens a patient's chance of being severely affected by the coronavirus. Meanwhile, Minister Anthony said more health centers in Region 4 would now be used as vaccination sites. And yesterday, the Ministry of Health announced that 2 more persons who tested positive for COVID-19 disease have died. According to the ministry, the latest fatalities are that of 2 men, a 59-year-old from Region 3 and a 65-year-old from Region 4. The country's COVID-19 death toll has now moved to 484. 77 new cases were recorded, taking the total number of confirmed cases to 20,645. 15 patients are in the COVID-19 ICU. 89 persons are in institutional isolation, 1,410 in home isolation, and 3 in institutional quarantine. To date, a total of 18,647 persons have recovered from the virus. And just before we wrap things up here this afternoon, let me turn my attention to page 7 of the Kaieteur News that is dedicated in being blunt. Guyanese workers claim that AGM's Chinese managers are mistreating them, dealing with them differently through a standard that is lower than that of Chinese employees. This is insulting and unacceptable from any source, but especially at the hands that comes to reap our natural resources harvest. We don't think that the Minister of Labour is doing enough. His officials must go to AGM's location unannounced and learn for themselves what is really going on with Guyanese workers. The usual stage visits, our well-prepared reception, and tables must be bypassed. This call for probing to get the bottom of what is wrong and humiliating to Guyanese workers. These jobs are not charity. They are our due, and with all amenities and dignity attached. And with that, we've come to the end of your main newscast right here on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. Let me remind you that you can get the full details of these stories and much more by picking up a copy of the Kaieteur News at a newsstand near you, or head across to our website at kaieteurnewsonline.com. I am Joshua Van Sleckman. Thank you for joining us. Have a great remainder of your Thursday afternoon, encouraging you to practice social distancing and to wear your face mask. So long.